Hi there. This is my submission for the engagement bonus in the strategic thinking course. Today I've decided to have a look at Steers, sort of a pretty well-known South African quick service restaurant. Maybe before I get into digging around and redefining their business model to some extent, I would like to sort of discuss the business as a whole and maybe go into their current sort of operations and just give a bit of context. So, like I said already, they've managed to build a fairly successful brand name in South Africa as a sort of premium quick service product. So they charge a slightly higher price for a slightly more premium product compared to McDonald's and the like. Like sort of conveniently located around shopping malls and filling stations, generally where there's higher traffic. In terms of their current model, franchisees are generally found, like I said, in these petrol stations, but the whole idea is that they're piggybacking off that infrastructure that is found, and they don't actually own any freestanding buildings of their own. And essentially what this equates to is a walk-in service function. So patrons have to walk in and queue up to wait for their food, and that sort of can raise a few concerns in terms of efficiency. Again, like I said here, slightly higher prices with the quality food. Competitors in this area that I can probably think of, that in this sort of premium quick service restaurant space with the same idea as a walk-in function, I'd probably have to say Nando's is high on the list. Yeah, at the moment that's probably the best sort of example to reference ourselves against, albeit they don't do quite, I mean, they do the Mozambican chicken and stuff, but it's at the end of the day it's the similar idea. Now getting into the business model, I think before I sort of film over on this side, we must discuss how growth can be driven further. And currently the growth of Steers is fairly organic. Let me just zoom in here, but for you, the growth of Steers is fairly organic in the sense that revenues stays pretty much the same, and growth is driven through new stores being opened as they go. My sort of redefining of the business model will essentially spur that growth on, and my idea was essentially of bringing in a drive-through system, and this drive-through system will improve the efficiency of the business and allow revenue to be ramped up and thus growth as new stores are brought onto the map. Yeah, like I said, if we just draw out here a growth stage of a company, so we got a growth rate over here, and this is maturity. Generally the maturity cycle looks something like this, where we're growing quickly, we reach a sort of a high point, and then we taper off and we find a steady state level of growth. So currently, right now, Steers is probably finding themselves somewhere along this curve. And what I'm saying about improving efficiency and increasing growth is we can maybe make this curve steepen a little bit further. So this I view this drive-through function to essentially do that. But what are the concerns that might be raised with employing a drive-through sort of setup? Naturally, because these establishments are found in service stations and malls, having a drive-through function is quite tough to implement. So, like I said, these drive-throughs would have to come through the new standalone establishments, which is similar to the likes of McDonald's and such, but where I think a concern around this would be that maybe the view of quality might be lost. I think I've got that point down here. Perception of quality, yeah. Like I say over here, I don't believe that to be the case, because Steers is quite a large household name in South Africa, and I think the idea, the quality that they bring across has been well established. So I think the impact of quality on this discussion is probably maybe not a strong argument against this idea. Where the opportunity lies in this is that by implementing standalone branches with the drive-through service, Steers can actually build up a significant property portfolio. And if, for example, perhaps those Steers that are standalone aren't as profitable, those buildings can be redesigned or even just as they are let out to different tenants. And I think given the strength going forward and future potential growth in like areas such as like Cape Town and Ballito and Sandton, this will further ramp up the asset base of Steers, and actually, if they rent these buildings out, it opens up the business to a whole new revenue stream which it hasn't had before. And as these assets grow over time through capital gains as well as a revenue generation, this can add significant value to the business, but also reduce profitability risk in the sense that the revenue stream is now more diversified. So I think that's a big point to having a drive-through system, and kind of changes the business model in the sense that they're becoming a part fast food and part sort of property holding business, which is actually very similar to what McDonald's does. McDonald's is one of the largest property holders in the world. Competitors on the range, if we look at again Nando's, going back to them, they haven't implemented a drive-through function yet. So in terms of this premium space of slightly higher quality incorporated with the drive-through, there aren't actually any competitors in terms of the quality that Steers offers. So one could argue that we're in a bit of a blue ocean strategy here of this specific regard. Yes, there's other drive-through restaurants, but quality at slightly higher prices drive-through, there are no other competitors in this space. You could raise the argument that if it's slightly higher quality, then maybe perhaps people don't want to be driving through and enjoying it quickly. But I think Steers is exactly in the right point in the sense that it's quick service, slightly higher quality, but not such a high quality that you don't want to be going to a drive-through with it. I believe the quality is still at a certain level where having a drive-through is justified at the speed at which you also get it. Thank you.